Hello, this is what is this? This is my Sungate transits for June 26th to July 1st. And this is the sun transiting gate 52. Yes, that's correct. Gate 52. And if you look here on the body graph that I have in front of the screen, I don't know why this is here. You'll see down here at the bottom on top of the root, the right-hand side of the root center, and just below the sacral center, you'll see that gate 52 is colored in black for the personality transits of the day. If you look up here, you'll see the sun, the circle with the dot in the middle, which is the focal point of our reality or realm. And it's in gate 52, line 1. This will progress with all the lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until July 1st. And as you can see for this day, I'm recording this on the 25th, so you guys will get this on the 26th. And the transit will start maybe sometime tonight before midnight, before tomorrow starts. And it's a reflector chart, 1-4, right angle cross of service, number 2, and some other details there about innocence, meditation, observed, peripheral, probability, desire, and possibility. And that's the motivations and senses and trajectories. See if that makes sense. The trajectory is to be observed. So that's interesting. We're all either observing or observed. This is the 1-4 investigating opportunist, very rare profile. And this gate here active, is coming out of the root center. So it's an adrenalizing gate. All these gates coming out of the root center are very adrenalizing, meaning to say they're very active in stimulating humans to do things physically. The 41 is where Pluto is, and that's provoking us to be hyperactive. And Pluto's out of bounds, so it's even more uncomfortable. And it's provoking our dreams as well. And our visions of what we want, our desires. And Pluto's telling us in that gate that, you can desire all you want. You are not going to get everything you want. So it's important to remember that sometimes your visions and desires are complete in the imagination of them. And sometimes, if Saturn and Neptune in square to, well, at the Aries ingress at the vanishing point with the Venus star point in square to Jupiter and in sextile to Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus soon to be in Gemini, then we'll see how those manifestations come forth or are destroyed or a mix of both, along with the dissolutions and the reality checks of Saturn, the delusions of Neptune, and the misgivings and destruction of Pluto, or I should say the purification of Pluto, purifying what is not authentic, not correct. And gate 52 is really what we're looking at. All these gates here are active, but the sun, the focal point of our present destiny, is going to be in 52. And you see 52 is a part of the format channels. And so let's make this a lesson. These are all the format channels here. The 4253 is about cycles, beginning, middle, and end. The 63 is about organization, ordering. That's the 3. And then the 60 is about, if I'm remembering correctly, darkness. This is a format gate. You can't control when things happen. They will happen when they do, especially when you have this full channel. The 952 This channel is about the ability to be still and focus. If you have the nine, you have a great ability to focus. If you have the nine and not the 52, you can focus, but you can't stay still. If you have the 52 and not the nine, you can stay still, but you can't focus. If you have the nine and the 52, then you could sit, focus, and get things done. So those of you who are missing one of those gates, if you're missing the 52, you're in luck. These next 6 days, you can utilize it as if you had it all along. If you don't have the nine, just go to a cafe, go to a public place. Someone will have the nine. Someone will help fill that in for you. Now, the 52, the meaning of the 52, the kind of general meaning is, well, the human design, or the I Ching rather, the Chinese I Ching is calls it still mountain. And essentially this gate's about stillness, concentration, waiting until the time is right. So this is a profound gate because it's about understanding the ebb and flow in life and all the nuances of that. In other words, when you begin something, you begin it. And in its inception, the weight of its destiny is held. In other words, you don't interfere with it. When you give something life, that's it. It has its life. And it will go with its own ebb and flow, with its own movement. And it'll go with its own timing until it is mature to present itself to the world. That applies like a work of art or like a child. All that applies. Not too much interference, just allowing things to grow in their own space and time. Now, the key to the 52 is patience is a virtue. There's a time, there's a season, as the Ecclesiastes likes to say in the Bible, for everything. So this is like learning how to move when it's correct to move, learning how to stay still when it's correct to stay still. It's a very interesting gate because it also nuances some level of a manipulation of time. Those who have this gate can, in fact, manipulate the time around them if they're holding the gate in a higher frequency. I mean, what it is that it's the recognition that when the body's overwhelmed by stress, and this gate holds stress, all the gates around the root center here hold stress. And when you hold stress in your body, it wants to be released. So all these gates are about the impetus to do do something physically, to move in order to satiate and release the stress that builds in the body. But the key is actually to not allow that stress to be created in the body. And this can be handled through control of the mind, letting the mind rest and being in the heart, breathing, meditating, moving in flow so that you're not stuck in the mind in fear, creating things out of fear. To create something out of fear is, of course, to complete something in fear. It's never going to resolve itself. It's going to remain what it is on its path, on its completion. But the 52 is the recognition of things in its own time. And it's the recognition of allowing these frequencies in the body not to stress, but to operate at a higher frequency. A frequency that just knows when it's time to slow down time or to speed up time. And this is the real power of this gate. I mean, people with this can influence the effect of time on the collective. Now, how realistic what I'm saying is, is relative to one's surroundings. a lot of humans live in cityscapes where, bodies are piled on top of bodies that are piled on top of more bodies and piled on top of more bodies. So what you have is these overlaid webs of auric fields. And the more webs of auric fields overlay an environment, the more stress will build because it's already stressful to be in the aura of others. The added stress of layering the amount of people, the way the stress builds. And that's why people in cities always usually hold the same frequencies. It's very difficult to unhinge oneself from the dominant collective frequency. But, once one reaches their sanctuary, they can kind of control their energy field to an extent. The bioenergetic field is pretty large. Now, let me look at some other notes here. So, all these gates around the root center build pressure. It's a pressure to release. And this creates a sense of, can create a sense of stress in the body that wants to be relieved. But it introduces the concept, the kind of bifurcation that while stress does seem to originate in the body, it really doesn't. The layering of the fields of human experience in cities and other environments creates the stress of having, the WAs, so many hundreds of people, so many auric webs weaved together. And this is one reason why community doesn't really work. People talk a lot these days about, oh, I'm gonna go live in a community. That sounds so sweet and nice. It really does. But name me one community that's ever really worked. And if it has worked, how long did it work for before it rotted away and became something else? Human design, in a way, is founded on all and like on a community. I mean, all Ra's first students were sannyasins of Osho. That's kind of strange. And then they all joined human design, and then some left and some stayed, and new people came in, and human design was more of a communities in different parts of the world. I think in New Mexico there was a spot, Sedona, um, obviously Ibiza, Spain, all these places where Ra was for a while, Hawaii. But ultimately, too much stress is built in the aura when too many humans are together, overlaid. And so the other possibility then, in such circumstances, is to create and to control one's own inner environment. And that's where meditation comes into play. Because in meditation, you're creating space to let all the superfluous data of the day release and go away. Right? You're just sitting down with no agenda. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to be. There's nothing to think, nothing to say, nothing to visualize. You're just sitting there in a state of being, hopefully in the dark with your eyes closed, feeling whatever you need to feel. And this opens up a space for allowance. And in this space, you're creating your own inner environment, your own inner environment of peace. And this is what helps regulate this particular gate or gene sequence. Now, all gates are dualities. So this gate, as I was saying earlier, represents the duality of staying still or not being able to stay still. inherent in the lowest frequencies of expression, this gate does manifest an inability to sit still, to be still. Now, on the other extreme, it can manifest a situation where you're so stuck that you can barely move or barely progress, non-literally. The realization here is to reflect nature, to be like nature, not like robots or sporadic beings or harmonic forces. I like to bring in the Steiner. But as usual, to observe nature and and what nature does with time. Nature is very slow. Nature matures very slowly, very gradually. So people have gardens, you watch everything grow throughout the season. There's something very healing about that. Seeing over a period of time colors and food from the soil that nourishes you. Everything in nature thus moves at its own pace. Now, another deep root of this gate is to begin things with the correct intentions. If you can begin something correctly, then by its own accord, it will manifest correctly at its own pace. I was saying a little of this before, but I repeat it to make the point that when humans get stuck not being able to stop moving or stuck not being able to move, the same solution is always there. And that solution is to be of service for others because we don't always see it, but we get energy back when we support others. And it's very effective. We do feel it if we choose to. Do feel the reflex of that energy output. It does come back to us. And this is profound because if you ever get stuck in a malaise or you get stuck in victimhood or you get stuck in like I am right now, like I need to do some stuff for my developing Substack and I need to do shorts or something so I claim or so I'm putting on myself and I need to get started on my next series. But a part of me just doesn't just well, there's so many things I have already I'm doing, but it doesn't help that when I have the free time I don't do it. And it's kind of a sense of stuckness. But one must seek balance. Make sure you have time to rest, time to play, and time to work. And do your best to balance it because, as I said in the last vid, it's a world of polarities. And the best that we can do is just to balance ourselves, check in with ourselves. Did we get enough water? Did we get enough food? Do we get enough sleep? Do we need to rest a little? What do I need right now? And one of the keys to life in general is to know your own needs when you need them and to listen to your body and give the body what it needs. But we're too often caught up in trying to satiate the needs of our mind, the need to feel safe, the need to confirm this or that, to know this or know that. And that's, part of the huge problematic of the human. But essentially, when all's said and done, what we're looking at, and I'll make this kind of the little part two as we segue. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the transit for the mundane, for the world as we move into July. And what it is essentially this channel will be active. for the next week. And along with the, no, that's it. Actually, that's the only channel active. I haven't checked for the rest of the month, but those of you who are projectors, manifestors, non-cycle types, you have the 9, or if you're around people that do, you'll be able to match and get some extra energy to get this last week of the month on this. And we just went through the new moon. So we are in a new beginning period. This is a new kind of Cancerian rebirth. This is a new 28-day cycle with the new moon. And through this cycle, we will have the visit of Uranus in the Gemini. We'll have Mercury retrograde starting around July 18th, 19th. And whole new horizon for this month and next, with the Aries vortex being really lit up by the magic triangle, grand minor trine of Pluto, Uranus, and the Aries vanishing point of Neptune and Saturn and the Venus star point. So it's a busy, busy month. And starting off this month, you will have, if you don't already have, the capacity and energy of the Escape 52. And it is a chance to stay still and calm and allow things to naturally flow without trying to control them. Experiment this week. See if you can allow things to be without interrupting or interfering or trying to control them. But instead, let time take its course. Let life take its own course. But as usual, if you need to do something, you'll get the hit and then you'll do it. It's really not a mental concept. The vagus nerve connects from the brain all the way down into the gut. And so our gut intelligence is never ignored. It's never not aware. But it's important to commit from there for those of us who are generators. And so we will end the moon with the new moon cycle beginning and gate 52 active until we get into the next gate, which will be another gate of Cancer. We started with the 15, the gate of extremes. Now we're moving to the 52. And then we will move into the next one, which I'm not sure what it is right now. But you will know in the next 6, 7 days when it's time for that one to make its transit. In the meantime, remember that the biggest key here, I haven't already brought it up with this gate, is to remember that, and this is like a very rooted truth into humanity, whether we all want to accept it or not, that the real key to life isn't knowing how to give to others. Give of yourself what it is you're here to give. And so we all have a way in which we support others and really bring light, our talent, our light to supporting and helping others. And that is really what the key of the 52 is, because if you get stuck or if you're overdoing stuff, you can take a break from that by making the space to really connect with someone and do something that makes them feel happy or supported or connected with, something they could feel in their heart. And I think there's nothing else to add. Hopefully that's helpful to you guys this month. Again, the key here for gate 52 is being okay with wherever you're at, with your stillness or your inability to be still, to be okay with it to the point where you can allow it to become its own pace and not to control that pace. And that means also to not control your frequency. but to allow it to unfold as well. Okay, hopefully that was helpful to you guys. And I shall stop sharing the image and see you guys on the next video.